You're such an asshole.
You may gone to a college class or heard something on the media or something like that where somebody says X and you're like, X? That doesn't make it X. That doesn't make any sense. That's totally against the laws of physics, reality, or just is too good to be true kind of thing. Like X, that can't be true. But you see, and this so happened, I can totally remember this happening during the dot-com bubble in 1998, 1999. We understand if you don't understand it because you're an effing moron. You're not brilliant people like us who are in the technology internet bubble thing and we know what we're doing. And it's all right if you don't want to invest in our hyperinflated .com stock because you're mentally impaired. I want to keep this monetized, not because of the money, but so it gets out there. And very commonly you will have found that in a lot of college classes where it's like, you see, it really is because we haven't enough magnesium to go around that the American Indians are impoverished. Doesn't make sense. Your BS detector goes up, and never question your BS detector. Never question it. Because usually when you're like, wait, that doesn't make any sense, it's because they're lying to you and they're trying to sell you a bill of goods. And there's this thing, and I don't mean to bore all of you with this thing called modern monetary theory. People, hey, what's your opinion on modern monetary? What's your opinion? Okay. And so let me explain the larger economics profession to you generally. All of economics is BS. There's some key tenets. There's some key principles and rules. But beyond, hear me out, beyond an associate's degree in economics, like a minor in economics, the rest of it is all BS. And it's a bunch of academic, got nothing else to do, like to say words I can't. They got to validate their academic study as if economics was a real profession, like it was a real science. And I've thought about this writing like the simple 5 tenets and laws of economics. No such thing as a free lunch. You can't make money printer go burr. Get your ass off your ass and go get a job. Stop having kids you can't afford. I mean, the problems the economics profession has tried to solve these past 100 years. Doctor in economics, a master's, econometrics, macro, micro. It's like, hey, how about everybody stop having kids they can't afford? Just crazy idea. And like all the social sciences, economics, I even criticize people in the Mises Institute and Hoover, whatever. It doesn't matter what flavor of economics it is. It's not a real study. It's not a real thing. But since everybody wants higher standards of living and they want money printed to go burr, there is this vacuum that pulls people in who are economists or economic experts to come in like, well, you see. And invariably what it is the desire of people to not work for a living, to find anyone, grasp at anyone, Paul Krugman, to explain why they don't have to work for a living. That's it. It's no more complicated than that. We could just print off more money. You can borrow. The federalists have full faith in government of the United States. It's like, it's called nuclear weapons and the world's biggest military, and everyone else is going to do what we tell them or else. That's ultimately what it is. Again, maybe I'm being too simple. Maybe the average person can understand it. But I can't warn you guys enough about economists out there who like, you see, you don't understand whatever. What was inflation versus unemployment? That wasn't the Laffer curve. Whatever. All these worthless academics that come out. You see this correlation here that happened for 3 years? Don't look at any other years, just these 3 years. Oh, my goodness. What was that? The Phillips curve. The Phillips curve. Hey, here's your Phillips right there. Phillips. He's probably dead now. Came out in the 70s, I think. Anyway, so I'm going to read some of you people. You're not as smart as these economists. You're not as smart as John Maynard Keynes. You're not as smart as Paul Krugman. You're not as smart as Robert Reich, Mr. Tax the Rich. Okay, you academic. Never worked a day in your life. How was Janet Reno? Did you have a good time with her? I bet you did. There was some ugly children, short, ugly children. That's a 90s joke. None of you kids are going to get it. So the main economic concern many of you might have, like, Joseph Biden just said we could print off, I didn't look it up, 4 trillion, 6 trillion, 10 trillion. I don't know how much more money we're going to print off. Won't that cause inflation? And then they couldn't rush that shill, Paul Krugman, quickly enough to the, and all the other people, harumph. And then there you are thinking like, well, I don't have a doctorate in economics like Paul Krugman, and I don't write for the New York Times, which would tell you he is not trustworthy if you write for the New York Times. We could just print off more money and nothing bad's going to happen. Like everybody kind of like, really? Why didn't we do that before? Why didn't we try that beforehand? Like if all it was a matter of printing off money, shouldn't it have solved the problems? Shouldn't the Weimar Republic or 1994 Yugoslavia or Venezuela or Zimbabwe be like the global dominant economic superpowers? And you start to realize, does the sheen come off? Is the wool coming off of your eyes? See what a bunch of frauds, what a bunch of charlatans, what a bunch of lying sacks of crap these people are. So to explain or rationalize or excuse debasing the currency, and that's what they're doing, to print off more money, money printer go burr, the worthless shills claiming to be economists came up with this thing called modern monetary theory. And you can look up the Wikipedia entry. It's many pages long. There's been hundreds of pages written about an analysis. Technically, and then when you look at the social sciences, they can't repeat the same thing. You realize it's a bunch of bunk. It's all a rationalization to print off more money because it's the easiest solution, politically speaking. And there will be inflation. And people are like, but according to modern money, there hasn't been any inflation. Look at the CPI. Meanwhile, you millennials bitch and whine about the rent you're paying. I'm like, isn't rent kind of part of the CPI? It's not. Oh, it's a gallon of milk or a ream of paper or a stack of toothpicks. Although lumber is getting pretty pricey. See, the CPI. What about retirement costs? Aaron, what are retirement costs? Well, didn't the stock market just skyrocket relative to the earnings and the dividends that the stock market pays? What does that have to do with it? Never mind, you don't understand how stock splits work. But if you're a millennial and you like to buy a house, well, you're screwed. You'd like to invest in reasonably priced stocks that the cash flow would warrant that price, well, you're screwed. We don't consider that inflation. All right, fine. We're not considering that inflation. Fine. Asset prices. Who wants to live in a house anyway, right? Government housing, right? Because Obama said so. You millennials still stuck to your like 19 or not 19, your 2008, 2009 beliefs. Here we go. No, continue without supporting CNBC. Hathaway, that would be Warren Buffett. Ignore that. You're seeing very substantial inflation and raising prices. Warren Buffett is seeing inflation among Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire Hathaway owns Coke, shoe company, very well diversified, multi-billion-dollar holding company. So they're spread out. I'm going to trust Warren Buffett more than I am the economists over at the Federal Reserve or the Fred database. Like, oh, we stopped following the M1 money supply. Warren Buffett is seeing inflation among Berkshire Hathaway's collection of businesses as the economic recovery from the COVID pandemic kicks into high gear. We are seeing very substantial inflation, the Berkshire chairman and CEO said at the conglomerate's annual shareholder meeting Saturday. It's very interesting. We are raising prices. People are raising prices to us. It's being accepted. Because printer went burr, right? We all got our stimmy checks, right? That's the most important thing. So you got $1,400 more than you did before, but it's going to cost you $1,400 more in prices. You're winning, as far as you know. But vote Biden, right? We've got 9 home builders in addition to our manufacturer, housing, and operation, which is the largest in the country. So we really do a lot of housing. The costs are just up, up, up. Steel costs, oh, by the way, all of you are like, I'm not going to go work. I got my stimmy check. I wonder what that does to production. I wonder if half the population sits on its ass and doesn't go and work and produce things, and there's fewer things being produced. Now, I'm no economist here, but if there's less things being produced, then I wonder if the price of those things will go up. Why does a gallon of milk cost $4, Ma? You're all idiots. You're all effing idiots, and I'm glad to see you suffer. Glad to see you suffer. Still costs, just every day they're going up, the legendary investor added. Berkshire Hathaway owns one of the nation's largest home builders, Clayton Homes, along with companies such as Benjamin Moore Paint. Oh, I didn't know they owned. Well, there's Warren Buffett. He's very diversified. And Shaw Flooring. Inflation has begun to accelerate recently due to multiple factors, including increased demand and struggles with some areas of the supply chain. Admittedly, that's because of the disease that is going around, as well as just easier comparisons with pace a year ago. The core personal consumption expenditure price index, which excludes volatile food and energy prices, rose 1.8%. Just throw that number away. Come on, just throw it away. It doesn't mean anything. The fastest pace since February 2020, the headline number increased to 2.3%, the quickest pace for that measure since 2018. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell reiterated last week. Wait, is he still the chairman? I guess he is. It's 2021. When did this come out? May. Oh, this is yesterday. Reiterated last week that he expects inflation to show a temporary move higher, then settle back to around the bank's central target of 2%. The Fed has also resolved not to increase interest rates until the economy sees full inclusive employment, so long as inflation doesn't run too far above the goal. Higher price pressures could weigh on stocks. Not going to weigh on stocks. You're printing trillions of dollars. You're lending them out at 1% or whatever the Fed's charging at that window that Chuck Norris can borrow at. And I wonder if companies and blue chip stock companies are going to borrow to buy back the stocks. I wonder if that's going to happen. Higher price pressures could weigh on stocks as inflation erodes the value of future companies' profits. They'll just charge more. That's the one thing about the S&P 500 or any, I guess, company in general is that if there's 5% inflation, guess what they're going to do to the prices? 5% increase. This is why if you looked at the Zimbabwean stock market, which is rare, or the Venezuelan stock market, which is rare, the stocks more or less, they faltered a little bit behind, but they more or less kept up with inflation. Not because the value of the company went up 400%. It's because you printed out 400% more money. This isn't complicated. Even kids brought up in the public schools can figure this out. Did we make money printer go burr by 4 times? I wonder if prices are going to go up 4 times. Like, this is 3rd grade division, and you economists with your master's and doctorate, you're like, oh, I know, you know, I know that you know, and you know that I know, you know. But you got to put up the facade. You got to do your magic trick. Hey, so the Federal Reserve will print off. No, wait. Wait, how does that work again? I'm always confused. Who prints off the bonds and who prints off the money? And you exchange, you say, economic progress. What was it? The Federal Reserve prints off the money. And then the Treasury prints off the Treasury sells the bonds to the Federal Reserve. You do this, like, look at all this money that just showed up. It's totally not inflation. Good thing that every kid had to go to school and not learn about finance or economics in the public schools, right? Because they're like, okay, I go major in the liberal arts. Follow, heart, money, follow. Student loan bailout, please. I need student loan bailout money. College educated IR don't understand compound interest. Oh, man, I wish I was Paul Krugman. Man, he pulled it off because he's old. He's going to die pretty soon. And, man, how much money that guy made telling you guys. Like, he is the economist Oprah. That's basically what he is. He told people what they wanted to hear. He gave them a rationalization, and he made bank. Not as much as Oprah. You got to admit, Oprah is the queen. She made bank telling women lies. But man, Krugman was a good close second. Very applaudable. Very good, Paul. Very good, Paul. Bravo. Bravo. Well done. Because not for a second that guy's smart, even believes his own BS. Not for a second. But you guys want to like, what? Free money? Okay, Paul Krugman. Why is rent so high? Why is tuition so high? Bailout. Worm. Only the nerds are going to get that one. Can cause spike in treasury yields. All right. For a full recap, bada-ba, bada-ba. Well, I'm sorry. Sorry your modern monetary theory is busted. It only took it actually took 4 presidents to prove it wrong. But more recently, you printed off money. Money printed went bird. Now you're like, why is everything so expensive, Ma? It makes my alls rain. Simple Jack economics. Maybe I should write a book about that. Modern monetary. We could just print off money and everything would be perfectly all right. What now? What is this? Okay, so Jack, go watch my video on you. Do I gotta ban you for like, couldn't you just write that in one? All right, I'll get there, Jack. I'll get there. Simple Jack. Well, you're my Dutch advisor, Harry. Jorge T for another 10 generous dollars, the new guy. Hey, Cappy, thanks for all the advice about achieving excellence. Have you read Nietzsche and his works on the Overman? You mean Ubermensch? He was, in my opinion, the first red pill philosopher in modern times. I just don't, the Zarathustra thing just got a little weird and culty to me. And I've listened to some people summarize Nietzsche because I'll just admit I'm too lazy to read books. I don't want to read books. Give me the Cliff Notes version. And some of it was good, but I haven't delved into Nietzsche that much. So that's it. What do you mean, you people? Great movie. Great movie. Punch him in the face really hard. Oh. All right, that's it. See you guys later. Toodles.